would you be willing to read us a passage from "And Then She Vanished"?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'd be happy to. So I was thinking the obvious one to read would be something like just go straight in and read the prologue, but we've kind of covered a lot of the setup of the book.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it might be a bit more fun if I actually go in and read a little section. So if I just sort of give you a little bit of background about where we're at, because I'm going to dive right into the middle of the book, because it's just a little section that I was really pleased with, and it kind of sums up, I think, the style of the book as well. So if that's all right, I'll read from there. But if I just explain how we've got to this point. So Joe has discovered that through this latent ability, through hypnosis, that he can think his way back through time. But there are all these rules that he doesn't understand. So he's got a very old friend of his who he's not seen for a long time, and he goes to visit him. And Mark, his friend, is a physicist. So this is based on the friend that helped me with my Excel spreadsheet. And Mark is a physicist, and so Joe has to go to a physicist and basically tell him that he can time travel. So it's the kind of conversation between these two and trying to persuade somebody who's obviously extremely academic that you can time travel. So here we go. This is Joe visiting Mark. I know Mark. Once I start, he'll become a question machine, and I want to give him the answers he deserves. Also, now I'm here, I realize that every step on this journey needs to be a deliberate one. Each decision will either move me closer to saving Amy or further away. Coming here today was the right move. Now I just need to win him over and gain not only his wisdom, but his support. I believe he's the key to unlocking full understanding of my abilities. So what's this all about? Mark asks. You said it had something to do with Amy? It has everything to do with her. Okay then, he says, I'm listening. And so I begin to tell him. I get as far as hypnotherapy led to accidental time travel when he raises a hand and stops me, a deep frown etched into his forehead. Sorry, you mean you lost track of time and had some kind of episode? No, I mean I time traveled. Mark takes a sip of tea and nods calmly. You time traveled, he says slowly, with the cautious demeanor of a scientist listening to an interesting theory. You mean in your mind? I knew this would be harder than Vinny, because Mark's so utterly convinced that he understands how the world works. It isn't his fault, but he has an air of superiority. He looks as though he's deciding who to call on my behalf. I press on regardless, explaining that after the accidental jumps, I managed to do some specific and surprisingly controlled ones. Well, before the barbed wire incident, at least. So you see, I need your help, I tell him, to make sense of all this, to understand the rules. Joe, he says soberly. For example, why did I only stay a few seconds at the fair? That's enough, he says, placing his cup down. Why are you doing this to yourself? I know it's hard to believe, Mark, but it's real. Real? Let me tell you what I know for sure. I'm sorry, but it isn't my help you need. He stands and paces the room. Is this what you came all this way to tell me? I hold his gaze and my nerve. You told me once that you believed my viewings were given to me for a reason. Well, your psychometry is one thing, Mark counters, but this is completely different. No, I reply. I believe they're linked. Right. Mark folds his arms. You seriously expect me to believe this? I don't actually, which is why I'm going to prove it to you. Amy died, Joe, Mark says, a long time ago. Maybe that's true, but I think I can save her. Listen to me, he says. If you carry on like this, you're going to end up like your dad. The air freezes between us. 1,000 possible replies clambering at my throat. Mark sits down again. Yet another problem you haven't dealt with. You need therapy, Joe. You need to face the truth, accept what's lost and move on. But what if I can prove it to you, I say, more firmly this time? What then? He smiles. Prove that you can time travel. I nod and he points to a fedora hanging on a row of hooks. If you can prove it beyond any reasonable doubt, I will eat my hat. I grin. Then I hope you're hungry.